do, I'm gonna go over the one we just took with you,
Okay.
and I'll go over your scans with you. Okay? So, where am I at? Where's my stuff? Here we go.
So this is the X-ray.
It will be, yes. So
Oh.
I'm gonna talk about kind of what we look for first.
Okay.
So when people come to us, right, we look for certain things, okay? So 2 words up here. One is normal, right? Most people know what normal means, okay? Other word is subluxated, right? So that's a fancy word for stuck, right? Or doesn't move how it should, which then causes interference, right? And that interference can cause issues, okay? So normal, right? Spine looks how it should, moves how it should, everything functions how it should, okay? Here with subluxations, we'll see misalignments, we'll see swelling, pinched nerves, inflammation, tight muscles, right? So commonly, conventional chiropractic, if we see this in our neck, we'll have neck pain, right? If we find it in our low back, we'll have low back pain. In our world, we are looking at nervous system, right? So we're focusing on what these nerves do. So wherever these nerves go, there can be potential issues. Okay. So for example, your low back, right? Those nerves are being impacted and you're feeling stuff into your legs, right? Because those nerves from the low back go all the way down into your legs, okay? So when we look at the nervous system, right, we have brain and we have spinal cord, okay? So then there's spinal nerves that come off of every level, between every bone, right?
Yeah.
They go to the body depending where they leave, right? Do whatever they're gonna do, and then those messages go back to the brain, okay? So when there's interference, right, which is what we measured through the scans that we did last night, those messages get slowed down, or they can stop if they've been there long enough, right? So, for example, we'll use the top 3 bones, upper cervical. So the nerves that come out of here, they supply all of these things. Okay? So if there's nerves coming out of here and those messages aren't sending how they should, impacting these are potential symptoms we can have. Okay? So most commonly in adults, headaches is typically what is most common, but in kids we can see behavioral issues, ADD, right? In babies we'll see colic, we can see difficulty sleeping, we can see digestive issues, we can pretty much see everything in regards to this upper cervical, all right? But because our body is self-healing, self-regulating, right? We don't necessarily have to have any of these just because we find interference. Okay, does that make sense? So even if we find interference, you may not have any symptoms.
It makes sense to me.
Cool. So then our goal, or what we do in our office, right, is to identify where that is, and then through the adjusting, try to reduce or remove, right, those areas so that everything can function how it's supposed to. Right, so less pain, no symptoms into the legs, things like that. Does that make sense? Okay, so easiest way to describe this would be like cell phone service. Okay, so normal would be like 5-bar cell phone service, really fast, your messages go through, you get pictures, everything works, right, how it should. This would be like you're out in the middle of the desert, okay, and it's searching for service, right? 1 bar, no bar, 1 bar, no bar. So the messages don't ultimately they get through, but it takes a while. Does that make sense? Okay. So, looking at your scans, we see, we have 3. So we've got blood flow, muscles, HRV, okay, heart rate variability. These 2 are where stress is stuck. And this one is how we adapt or handle stress, adaptability. Okay? So, on this one, we love white, right? And we love balance from side to side. Okay?
I can see very clearly. It's okay.
Okay, so take this out, right? If it looked like that on the whole scan, you'd have a perfect scan. Okay? On this one, we love white, right? And we love back and forth. So you see how you go here, 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 like that, right? So in a perfect world on this one, there would be no bars, okay? But that's never gonna happen with anybody, right? So in a slightly less perfect world, we should see back and forth at every level or as much as possible, okay? So an example would be like right here. You see here, 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 right? Versus this one right here, you have this big block, right? So there's no real back and forth through the neck. Got it?
This is flow of the.
This is the muscle temperature, so blood flow. So
Okay.
if there's an increase in blood flow, right, these are what these bars mean. So that means there's an increase in stress, right? It's telling us where stress is stuck. So looking at this one, right, talking about what we talked about yesterday, this is a pretty phenomenal scan outside of one area, okay? Can you see that?
I come not. This is for nerve.
Yes. Well, this is muscle tension, muscle energy. So tightness, right?
Yeah.
So the colors, right? White is normal, green is mild, blue is moderate, red is significant, and black would be severe.
Okay.
So with you, I mean, from your neck down, you're pretty spot on, right? Even though we have those low back issues, you don't really have any increase in low back energy outside of these two mild interferences right here. Primarily what we're seeing with you is neck, right? Which is very common because a lot of people will have chronic low back issues, but it's stemming from their neck, right? And this whole spine is connected, right? So if one spot is out of whack, it can down, with the neck, it can downgrade, right? So the neck can affect the mid-back, neck can affect the low back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the headquarters is up here.
Yes,
So
exactly.
everything connected. down.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So we also see primarily left-sided, right? Which,
Left side and this side.
exactly. So, and that's where you're feeling that in your hand mostly, right?
Now.
Yeah.
Lately,
Okay.
Yeah.
So what this is telling us, right, is we're having an increase in energy on this left side of your neck, right? Which is basically an increase in muscle energy, an increase in tension, right? Which is potentially causing, for sure, this issue. But when we look at the neck as a whole, I would guess it's contributing to your low back, okay? So a good way to think of this, right, is this is how your body perceives the world, right? We perceive the world through motion, through movement. So your body is perceiving the world with this heightened interference in our neck, right? Which then it has to coordinate the information it's taken in, okay? And then it has to respond, right? So basically, we are responding to the world with negative energy or with all this negative input into the brain, okay? Which can be, again, why we see these issues, right? Or all these issues here, if there's any sort of interference. Now, looking at this one, this is gonna be deeper, right? So this would be like autonomic or where stress has been stuck for a long time. If we look at this one, it's the opposite, right? Low back, right? So we have long history of low back, which is probably why this is registering here, right? More recent in the neck, right? Not necessarily anything bad going on here, but when we look at your low back, I mean from basically the bottom of your mid-back T10 all the way down has some level of interference, most of it being moderate to significant, okay? So when we look here, low back, moderate to significant, it can affect all these. So it's gonna be muscles of the low back, muscles of the hips, muscles of the legs and feet, all those nerves, right? Pelvis, but then it also is like lower digestion and everything that's in here too, okay? So we didn't talk about anything like that, but what we did talk about was basically low back and muscle, okay? So from a where stress is stuck standpoint, your body from an acute sense or snapshot sense is primarily neck, but at a deeper level, it's low back, right? And then talking through your symptoms, right? We've had low back longer, and we're now recently starting to have neck.
Low back is considered from here down or
So low back would be considered
around there? Okay.
basically these three reds and down through here. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
then
I feel like a pain not down here this morning,
Uh-huh.
a little bit up, and then up, come and go, higher.
yeah.
So look like it's moving.
Okay. Which
Yeah,
is good.
moving on the back.
Okay.
Yeah, but then the other is just come and go. Sometimes they move.
Yeah.
Depend on the certain moving I
Gotcha.
do.
You get
Sometimes they
jump in
don't. They are totally gone.
Yeah.
And then they come back. So
Gotcha.
so the movement they causing those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then one more thing, right? We see primarily again left side, right? Which primarily again is left-sided
Yeah.
leg, right? Leg in the back.
Correct. Based on this chart, I think it's it's pretty good
Yeah.
prescribing what I have.
Yes.
Over here only occasional, mostly it's on the
Left side.
Left side.
So now what's pretty incredible, right? Based on everything you do, we see how we handle stress. Okay, so on this one, we want to be in this box. Green is good. Yellow is doing too much. Orange would be fatigue, and red would be exhausted. Okay? On this axis, we want to be as high as possible. On this axis, we want to be as midline as possible. Okay? So this is measuring autonomic activity, and this is measuring balance. You are right here. Okay? You're all but perfect. So I don't know what you do every day, but you're doing pretty good. Okay? So you get 2 scores. Okay? So in terms of autonomic activity, you got a 98 out of 100.
Wow.
So you got an A+. Okay? In terms of balance, you got an 8.
Handle the situation.
It means your system isn't fatigued and your system is operating pretty much perfectly.
Wow, that's like best score.
Right?
Anyone
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, what does he do? It's all the gardening. Getting your hands in the dirt.
Well, many things too.
Yeah, I
Many
know,
things
I
too.
know.
You're just looking for solution.
Yeah, totally.
But that's true because I don't rely on because every time I go to visit my cousin, visits my I told you my
doctor.
or when he send me to cardiology, it look like I have to be alert,
Yeah.
because for example, like the last visit to the what do you call
The orthopedic. Yeah.
Yeah, orthopedic.
he walking in and then he just look at the thing and he say, you have to do 2 things. Take medicine. And then I heard the word medicine, then I kind of,
You listen.
I say, well, so many times when I go there, it create almost not more problem.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't do any good.
Yeah. So, even though we see this, right, your body is very capable of handling stress, right? So your other score for balance was an 88, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're all but perfect in terms
Yeah.
of the way your system functions.
So far it's okay, but then if you leave it alone,
Yeah.
we don't know the future.
Yeah, it can drop.
It can go. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm afraid because things once they stop, they'll go deeper.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. I've got to do something.
Yeah.
And then when
Yeah.
Michelle mentioned, I just have to come.
Yeah, cool. Any questions on this?
No, not
So
really. So the cause of this,
Yes.
because of
It could be.
what I eat.
So it could be. Yeah,
So
it
my
could be anything,
movement, what
right?
I'm
So yeah.
doing.
So thoughts, right? Emotional stress, physical stress,
Yeah.
movement, accidents, traumas, right?
Yeah.
Or toxins, like what we take in. So the
Yeah.
air we breathe, water we drink, food we eat. So all of those things can put stress on our system,
Yeah.
right? So we call them the 3 T's: thoughts, traumas, and toxins.
So this
That could lead to his back issue.
we don't know.
Yeah.
But the test of things here that cannot tell, right? This is we know that's
No. Yeah, we couldn't tell what caused
Yeah,
it. No,
that's
yeah.
right, yeah.
So even though this is very healthy, he does have these like things going on.
Totally. Yeah.
So
So that means I'm still not beyond repair.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm afraid. I always try to. This is what I try to learn from old people,
Yeah.
teacher, and
Yeah.
my culture research. When you have problem, don't be afraid to analyze it and
Do
to find
something,
out
yeah.
solve it. But don't want to create another problem.
Yeah.
But it happened to me 20 years ago when I have open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Because try to do that, they did it wrong, then they end up to have some other thing.
Gotcha.
If I follow Dr. Tim 20 years ago,
Yeah.
then I don't have that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's already happened.
Better late than never, though.
Yeah.
So, when we look at X-rays, there's a couple things we want to see, right? From when we look at you from the side, this isn't you, okay? We want to see a bit of a curve, right? We want to see square, smooth bones, and then we want to see even disc height from front to back, okay? So the discs are in between the bones. These openings, these black openings right here, are where the nerve comes off the spinal cord and out through the vertebral body, or out through the spinal column. Now, going through life, again, sports, slips and falls, car accidents, posture, whatever, stress, our spine can degenerate, okay? And then it can cause a whole bunch of issues. So, basically, we have these phases of degeneration, basically grading how far along we are, okay? So when yours, and looking at your, right, your report you gave us, it basically described degeneration, right?
Yeah.
So if we look,
So this is the
Healthy.
three.
That's healthy.
Five of the bone, right?
yes,
Almost. Yeah.
so that's healthy,
That's the lower
right?
back. Yeah.
So if we look at yours,
Yeah.
degeneration of lumbar region,
Yeah.
degeneration, radiculopathy is the traveling pain,
Yeah.
degeneration of lumbosacral disc, which would be this bottom one, right? Again, radiculopathy, basically low back pain, right? So, looking at yours, okay, so this is your x-ray from the side, right? So we can see a slight curve, right? But we see a good amount of disc compression through all the low back. So like I was describing yesterday, when those bones in the disc in the middle the disc gets smaller, the bones come closer together, right? That's what we're seeing with you.
Yeah.
When that happens, those nerves that come out here, they're basically getting squished.
Right.
So wherever that nerve goes, there can be
Right.
symptoms.
Yeah.
So all of these nerves come out of our low back,
Yeah.
right? Into our hips, legs, and all the way down into our feet.
Yeah.
So this degeneration, right, is my guess as to why you're having the leg, feet, coldness,
Yeah.
tingling. Okay.
So it look like it's narrower down.
So yeah, so it's narrow, like, so these discs, right, should all be bigger, okay? And then we can see some bone changing, right? You see it primarily right there, and you can see it through the bottom of this one and through the top of this one, right? And then you see this increase in white, right? That's all signs of degeneration as
Those
well.
are the nerves coming out on top of this area too.
So yeah, the nerves would be coming through like here,
Yeah.
right here. So if I go back to this one, nope. See how open those are,
Yeah.
right? Versus not so much, not so much. So it's like this, right?
Oh,
This
yeah,
should be
yeah.
the opening,
Yeah.
and this is your opening.
Yeah.
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 So there's pressure on that nerve,
Yeah.
right? So it's like a garden hose,
Yeah.
right? If I choke off the garden hose, the water slows,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I have some. I try to understand it from the electric point of view because
Yeah.
I have some living knowledge about those.
Gotcha.
I
Have
know.
you seen bone go back
Fuse.
to healthy shape?
No. So bone's bone, right? Outside of, going in there with a hammer and chisel,
Yeah.
right?
It'll
What's done is
they'll
done.
put deposits, but have you ever seen it remove the body try to remove deposits its place?
No.
Okay.
So from a surgical standpoint, what they can do, right, which I'm not saying you should do, right, is they'll go in and they'll put in like fake discs, right, to give that height and take pressure off those nerves, or they'll just fuse, right, and dig into these bones so that the degeneration stops, right. But in terms of this, this bone going back to square and healthy, no, that unfortunately doesn't happen. So bone is bone, right? We can't change the way a bone looks, right? But we can get them moving, right? Like I was saying yesterday, and stop further degeneration,
Yeah.
right? Your neck, which we just took. Oh, let's see if I can do this. I always have trouble here.
Will diet and things like that will help
Oh yeah.
to generate or
Yeah, diet,
Bone.
movement, everything. Okay, so this is your neck from the side, right? So we can see kind of a curve, right? But again, in these lower part of your spine, C5, C6, C7,
yeah,
we see those discs. Let me see.
yeah, a very narrow now, small.
Yeah, so narrow, right? And then like we were saying yesterday, isn't that just age, right? So look at this disc versus this disc, right? Or this disc, or this disc. These are all healthy,
I see.
right? But here they're thin, right? And they're compressed. So in your neck, same thing. So those bones squishing that disc, they squish that nerve, and wherever that is, you can have those same similar symptoms that you're having here.
And then related this to inversion, when you
So when you invert, right, you're basically going like this. So these are your bones,
without releasing,
and you're standing,
Yeah.
right, and you invert, you're going like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
it should release and create some space, right? But the
Right.
problem is ultimately you're going to go back to doing this.
Right.
Right, so-
Most of the time.
If you, I mean, I would probably start doing more, right? You could do 7 minutes a couple times a day.
Okay.
But inversion isn't going to fix anything, right? It's not going to get bones moving. It's just going to kind of provide some temporary relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. When you do it, it does feel release.
Yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And if you like want to hang it down a little bit long.
Yeah.
But I just don't know whether so. But now.
It's
Since I'm
okay,
talking
but
to
it's
you.
just more like temporary
Yeah.
relief.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, it gets some release on the.
Yeah, I mean, you might hear some like boop,
Everything.
boop, boop. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great for people. I tell people to do it.
And
But
that-
I tell people it's not going to fix anything, right? It's just going to like make them feel a little better. Yeah. Or it's good like at the end of the day just to kind of decompress, right? Open the spine back up.
Yeah. Because eventually, all living things have to go to the other end. You know?
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
chiropractic care really the only way the most effective way to like get to
Move things?
restore?
Yeah.
To restore and then do all this body work, yoga,
Yeah.
exercise to
Yeah.
to maintain.
So, if bones don't move, the only thing that's going to move bones is something that moves bones.
Which is
So,
chiropractic.
which
Yeah.
is chiropractic.
Gotcha.
So yoga, you can stretch and loosen everything, and you might hear some clicks and pops, but it's not the same, right?
Yeah, it does. You hear that even every day. You
Yeah.
hear. So hearing the cracking
Yeah.
is indication that
So that what you're hearing is called crepitus, right? So it's basically like it's what degeneration sounds. It's like gunk, right? You got gunk in your gears.
yeah. But actually, when you hear it like that, it doesn't hurt, but it
Yeah.
feels good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes you'll get a release with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready to get adjusted?
Do you know how many
Yeah.
degrees off is he? Is it like, cause
In terms of which?
like his neck or curvature or his lower back? Like if he were to be able to get treated, the protocol here, what kind of improvement would you?
So at his age, you're just looking for it to not get worse, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we might see because his neck isn't as bad as his low back. So with his neck, we might see where are we at? So, right, so this would be perfect, right? So through the bottom, he's pretty good, but then we come forward. But even that isn't a ton, right? His neck is pretty good
Okay.
for outside of this pocket right here, right? There's not a ton of like forward head, right? I probably wouldn't even measure that with him. There's not a ton of compensation, right? That's pretty straight versus like if his C2 was angled like this, right? That's a bunch of compensation through here. I mean, the angle of his first bone looks good. The only thing I see in here, right, is this degeneration right here.
I see.
Yeah.
Dr. Ryan, does it have something to do with sleeping pillow on the night?
Does what have?
Maybe would that help if I put the pillow to
Like more down, like in
more-
through here?
more down?
It could. I mean, the only way I'd say it hurts is if people sleep like this, right? If they sleep like, if they're sleeping on a big pillow, right, and they're sleeping like this, that's when it hurts,
No.
right? But if you're like this, it's fine. Or if you're sleeping on your side and
may-
you have a big pillow and
Yeah.
you're sleeping like this.
I sleep straight. Sometimes I don't. The pillow get away. When you sleep, it's okay.
Yeah,
I can sleep without a pillow.
yeah.
Oh, so
That's good.
pillow's not that.
Pillow's not necessarily great. It's just comfortable. Like from an ancestral evolutionary, we never use pillows.
That makes sense.
Right. So the best thing you can do is use just like a little neck roll to support your neck, and then your head would be flat on the mattress.
No way.
Yeah. Or if you sleep on your side, you have like a shelf, right, just to put your head on,
Yeah.
so that your spine is neutral,
So,
or not
okay.
versus this or like this.
So specialty pillows.
I mean, some are
Some-
great. Yeah,
some
yeah.
are good,
I mean, some
okay.
do a great job, but just pillows in general, there's it's not going to fix anything. You might get some alleviation.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. So
All right.
I
Now
hope
you're
the
ready to
neck
get
will be
adjusted.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're getting there. So look at what caused it, and now just we know this is going to be as people getting older and older, and now things going to happen.
Correct.
So just knowing how to live. And
Well, that, but yeah, but I
expectation.
mean, I would definitely.
just an explanation, knowing
I can
is
give you
already.
the information from my friend
Yeah.
in Glendale. I think he's in Glendale, somewhere right around there.
Oh,
But I would recommend seeing him for sure.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to, so I mean, because getting care consistently, things won't get worse, right?
Yeah. Or improve those nerve pain.
It'll improve symptoms.
I just remember one thing, just my facial
Yeah.
twisting here.
Uh-huh.
On the face, the nerves twisting here, does it related to what part
So
of the
there are, I mean, yes, there's a bunch of
Around
nerves
that
in
area.
here, but the facial nerves, they come off the brain. So they come through the brain and go like this, right? So
see.
they're not necessarily coming through your neck, but there are pockets of those nerves,
Okay.
right? That
Directly from
they
the brain.
they come down off the brain, right? And they might pass this area, and then they go to like the lower jaw or to here or to up into here, right?
I see.
So they can affect them, yes, right? But if I adjust C1, I'm not adjusting your facial nerve versus me adjusting like the nerve C1, right?
See, I have this problem beginning when I was younger. Before I left my country,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like you,
Yeah.
handsome, strong,
You still are.
But when you come, and then little by little, probably a lot of pressure. I think.
Yeah, could be.
Pressure, living family, and
Yeah.
all kinds of things unknown over here.
Yeah.
And then it start little bit until much, I think worse than today, I think. But they're getting better because I'm taking supplement,
Yeah.
magnesium from Dr.
Good.
Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do get this kind of a release, I think. That's why I just
Yeah.
have
Cool.
to follow this. It's not just talking and listen to other
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I know.
Personal experience.
So you think will you have a protocol? Will your friend match, or will they need to see their own evaluation? You think?
I mean, so he does some similar stuff to us, but he'll have the scans.
Yes.
And this X-ray the low back X-ray is his, and we can give you a copy of this one.
Yeah. Email it. Okay.
I don't know how Maria pulled this up in here.
Do you think he would give a similar? Is his?
Oh, I would tell him what to recommend.
Okay.
I would tell him this is what we recommended.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
Yeah. No, I would say, I would probably, for him, I would recommend 3 times a week for at least 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, he might respond really quick, but that's just based on the degeneration we see, right? Between particularly the low back,
Yeah.
and making sure that doesn't get worse. But then because of what we see right here, and then because of what we see just from symptoms,
Yeah.
right? Into the legs and into
Yeah.
the arm.
Do you think if he was trying to find someone that was covered by Medi-Cal or insurance, if your friend didn't, is there a risk of trying to go to finding a chiropractor that would follow your recommendation that was under his plan?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
If I knew then maybe, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think that's the only guy. I don't know if he does or doesn't take
Okay.
insurance. If it's Medi-Cal, right? I'm sure they would, because Medi-Cal is usually free for him, or it's
Yeah.
like $9.
Yeah.
Right. So if we send him everything and say, hey, this is what I'd recommend.
Yeah.
Right. Pending how many visits he gets. I mean, we did all the legwork for him, and we're
Yeah.
saying, hey, you need to see this guy and
Yeah.
collect whatever, and then
Bill.
collect whatever, bill
Yeah.
and collect whatever. So
Okay.
I don't think, I wouldn't foresee it being a problem. I mean,
Yeah.
they'd probably do their own exam.
Yeah. Meaning,
but,
what if he's like, oh, I don't handle that type of process or paperwork. Finding another chiropractor that would follow the frequency, is there a risk with how they do adjustments? Would that be would that be hard for another chiropractor to go to look at your recommendations and like, hey, yeah,
Yeah,
we
I mean,
agree.
I think so, because I mean, I don't know what their philosophy is,
Yeah.
right? He could go to someone who's just like, let me see you when you're in pain, right?
Yeah.
Or he could go to someone who's like-minded like us, and
Yeah.
they might be like, well, I want to see you longer than that. So it's just that's why, like, I know and went to school with the guy in
Okay.
Burbank or
Yeah,
Glendale, where
yeah.
he's right in there, right somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have friends who go to him up there, and I would tell him, like, we just saw this guy, he's got X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
This is what we're recommending,
Yeah.
right? And he would probably
Just follow.
agree. Yeah.
Where some might not.
Yeah, some might not. Some might just say, hey, I only want to see
Yeah.
you once a week,
Yeah.
right?
From your school, did they teach this philosophy at specifically your school? Or like you learned it later
Yeah.
through like working with Dr. Hom?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you had to seek it out yourself.
Seek it out
Yeah,
yourself. This-
our school is very pain based, very refer out if they have anything else going on, right? You know, CYA, cover your ass,
yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Even from the chiropractic
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
they didn't fully take advantage of
Yeah.
what.
I mean, they pretty much just teach us to pass boards, right? Everything
Yeah.
else is on your own.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get ready to get adjusted?
Yeah, you.
I'm doing it right now. So I'll have you go face down right here.
I just.
Where do chiropractors go wrong when people have a bad experience of like, oh, they did something? Is that normally people actually just didn't know that you should expect soreness?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
is
it's
it-
usually they probably, because I tell everybody to expect to be sore after
Yeah.
their first couple, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that, or maybe they're heavy-handed, right? And they don't know how to adapt to, like, you know, they might adjust me the same way they adjust him, which
Okay.
probably not a smart idea,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Or maybe they are too light, right? So a lot
Yeah.
of people feel like, oh, he didn't do anything, right? Like we hear that a
okay,
lot.
Okay.
So it's like anything. There's
Yeah.
really good apples, and then there's like people who shouldn't be in the profession.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
It's kind of nice that you as a pediatric, because we know like you know how to be gentle.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then, you know.
Yeah, we're not cranking on any pediatric. All right, Mr. Kent, I'm gonna have you go face down right here, sir.
Did you know you would be good at this, or like when you thought you'd go to school for this, or you kind of fell into?
I fell into it. Yeah, but I mean, I was an athlete, right? And you know, it's hands-on, and it's
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, it's the body, right? Movement. So everyone who I like mentored under, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be great because of that," right? Whereas some people graduate and still don't know how to adjust, right? Or don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Did you feel like you? Could,
I
'cause
felt like
Nazz-
I felt like I was good to go after graduation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, I mean, it's 11 years next month, so as
Yeah.
you get further into it, right,
Yeah.
you just get better. Now, you know, 11 years ago, I wasn't as strong as I am today, right?
Really, you
Yeah.
feel like you've gotten a lot
Oh, yeah.
even better shape than.
I mean, well, just in this sense, right? My last office, you know, it was just lay down, adjust, you know, on Thursdays we'd see like 140 people in a day. So it was like, I was constantly, so you figure things out and all kinds of different bodies.
Have you met people who are like they try it out as a profession, like I'm just not that good at this,
Yeah,
and they
I
leave,
think it's
or like they're
something
not.
like 50% of people aren't in practice after 5 years.
Oh,
They
okay.
either they're not good, they can't figure it out,
Yeah.
right? Or they just want to do something else.
Yeah.
So like they'll go to real estate or
Yeah.
whatever. All right, Ken, I'm gonna start right here, okay? Big breath in.
All she'd asked me was, are we
Let that go.
the hat to the events?
There we go. Did you hear that? I heard that. One more.
Have you
There
ever
you go.
felt anything that you're like, ooh, what do we do here? Or is it like kind of obvious what's next?
I mean, good question. Have I ever felt anything that,
Like when you,
not necessarily. I've seen stuff on X-rays where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we're not going to do that. Right? Yeah.
okay. But
Okay, the table's coming up right here, Kent. I'm gonna push and the table drops, okay?
Okay.
Just keep this one more.
do you think if like Dr. Hom or the other Dr. Ryan saw him, would they use different techniques or are
They
is it
might, but
training?
I would let them know initially what I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes part art, part
Yeah, exactly.
like standard technique, but
Exactly,
some
yeah.
art. Okay.
You know, and yeah, they might feel something different than
Yeah.
I do, right? Because they're a different set of hands, different
Yes.
brain, right? Different eyes. Okay, Kent, lie on your right side. Face me over here.
Hand over. Hand like this.
Perfect.
Can you tell like from my dad symptoms of like after 2 months or 4 months he should start seeing less symptoms
So
of
with
like
symptoms-
tingling and like
So with symptoms, pain is usually the first to disappear, right? So if he
okay.
has like radiating
Yeah.
symptoms, right? So what you're going to want to see in that is if, say, he feels it in his calf, right? After a while, he's going to only want to feel it to like his knee,
okay.
right? And then he's only going to want to feel it to here, right? And then it's only into his hip. So it's called centralization, right? It's basically it's recoursing back
Okay.
to the back. But everyone's different, right? Some
Yeah.
people you adjust once and they cartwheel out of here and you never see them again.
Yeah.
And then some people it takes a couple
It
months.
takes a couple months. But that's what's nice about chiropractic is like you should still there should be improvement. in the
totally.
symptoms.
Alright, let that go. Good. Good. One more. Okay. Good. Go on your other side, sir. Nice. He's moving, so that's good.
Oh, great. It's crazy, like if you could stick to just the conventional system and he might not ever come to a chiropractor, you know, or get referred
I think
out.
it's like 7% of the population sees chiropractic.
Oh, that's it.
Good, good. I got you. One more. Okay. On your back, Kent, please.
He's like, I'm gonna take
Go
it
face
out.
up. Face up. There you go. I'm gonna adjust your hips too, okay? Right here. There we go. That was nice. Same thing. There we go. Boy, those opened easy. You'll be taller now.
But like even with that, without the continued frequency, it will probably like go back or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it just won't last. Okay. Oh, thank you. Cause you know, ever since I was in my 20s, I was told like one hip is higher, one leg is shorter, but they didn't do anything.
Woo, sir. My goodness. Help you up.
Oh.
Okay. Big breath in. And when you're ready, stand up and shake it out.
How do you feel?
Yeah, feel good.
Good.
You know, because when I was younger, sometimes you go to have some kind of massage,
Mm-hmm.
like an Asian or this
Yeah.
thing. They do something like this, but
Yeah.
we don't know how much they know.
Yeah.
They just you know on
Yeah.
the thing. But what you do is because you study in this field
Yep.
and the movement is similar.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
just
Cool. So yeah, I mean that's essentially what you
Yeah.
what you should expect. So then it's just a succession of like
Yeah.
building on that,
Okay,
right? So
yeah.
the more he gets adjusted, the more it loosens up, the more things start to move, right? And then symptoms start to
yeah. When you mentioned about adjust a movement,
Mhm.
checking up, this is how it is. Just
Yeah.
just maybe losing up.
exactly.
It was tight and now
Yeah.
losing up.
Yep.
If you keep doing it right, so I think
Yeah.
that's the best. I think
Stays loose.
Best we can do.
Yeah.
That's that. And then to me, next to me is that have to looking to you to see anything that I should do more and
I would say
thing to
keep-
avoid.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. I wouldn't add anything. I mean, you
Okay.
seem to be doing.
I mentioned
lot
to
of
you
stuff.
I do some like a rebound. Do you think
I
rebound?
think it's great.
How much can I do?
10 minutes is good.
Yeah, I do about like that.
Yeah, 7 to 10
because
minutes.
I learned from she's very nice. She's a nutritionist, Barbara O'Neill,
Okay.
and she used high intensity.
Yeah.
So I shake on a rebound, and then you do like a 30 seconds
Yeah.
of giving almost everything you can,
Yeah.
and then slow down and
Yeah.
take a
I
break.
think that's great.
I do 6 sets like that.
Cool.
Should I keep on doing
Yeah,
that?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, rebounder awesome.
Very good.
Yes.
And then I do when I exercise besides the biking. Bike is easy, right? Anybody, but I just like to do outside because
Yeah.
fresh air,
Exactly.
enjoying and knowing more about Mother Nature.
Yeah.
environment. But then the try okay.
Yeah.
No jumping.
No. No joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I figure out that
Yeah.
should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're moving everything, every part of your body, and I feel released. Every time I do that, you everything is gone because when you're moving.
Yeah.
So I keep going doing that.
Cool. Good.
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Yes.
Oh,
My pleasure.
no problem. Man.
Did we get from the front desk your referral?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look it up right now and I'll write it
Okay.
down for you.
And
And
then
then-